Welcome back to the Tap 2 podcast. I'm your host, Josh, alongside my main squeeze. Say hi, Jonas.
Hi, Jonas. Whoosh. That's me squeezing.
That's it. At the top of the show, I am begging you to go follow the socials. It's how you can connect with other nerds like yourself. Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and you can share it with your friends. Be like, hey, found these two niche creators on the internet. Go give them a listen.
It's the bottom floor. Imagine how cool you're going to feel. Be like, oh my God, I knew these guys when they were at 0 followers and now they're at 7 followers. That's such a jump. It's so sick.
You can only go up.
You can only go up.
So, Jonas, you just got back from a couple national parks. You look tan.
Yes. I baked a little bit. I'm warm and glazed.
How was it?
It was great. It was like so much fun. Me and two of your friends as well. We walked through Bryce Canyon for like 26 miles. We slept in tents. Then we did Zion. It was gorgeous. Like literally, there's no fun jokes because it was just like, oh
Just
yeah,
incredible.
It was a beautiful time. Our friend Nick, who's the one who took me, I explained to him, I said, Nick, I have a fear of heights. I will climb anything you want me to climb. I just want you to know I have a fear of heights. He said, perfect, you're climbing. You're getting there. I said, okay. And then so when I'm having a panic attack, climbing my way up, and he's like, oh, you mean a fear of heights? And I go, yeah, man.
What did he think he
I don't know what he
like
thought.
it was hard.
5,000 feet of elevation. I don't know what he thought I was going to experience when I looked
means
over
he's
the
afraid
edge.
of Santa Claus.
Yeah. But oh my goodness. So if you see a photo of me looking absolutely terrified, no, you didn't. Trust me.
One of these days, we're going to do an episode on the importance of touching grass as a TCG player.
Yes. Oh, please.
Well, that's not today. Today, actually, the inspiration for the episode happened this morning. So, as most degenerates do, I decided to head over to the local LGS as soon as it opened. Shout out Dark Depths. I'm a little spoiled in Philadelphia. There are two shops in like a 6-block radius of me. One has the market on play space, so there's like always really tables you can go to, and then the other has the market on singles, and they do this really cool thing where you send a list in their Discord and they will pick the singles for you if they have copies available, and they have like some of the biggest collection on the East Coast or something like that.
That is so fire. We got to do like, I have to come out and see that place soon. That's sick.
It's awesome, and it is dangerous for my wallet.
Yeah, that'll happen. Yeah.
So today it opened up and I wanted to get 2 cards. I'm a little bit of a degenerate. I play Kefka, so I have to, boo this man. Grixis it's my favorite combo. I had to pick up Thassa's Deep Dwelling, which is like the $30 God card. Yeah. And then I picked up Archon of Cruelty because I realized I run Reanimate in my deck with no like good targets. And I was like, the ancient tech of drawing for turn, passing, discarding, putting Archon of Cruelty in your hand, then next turn tapping 1 black to reanimate Archon of Cruelty to just board wipe on turn 2 is crazy.
It's essentially what you're doing is getting like a 6-mana guy out on turn 2, like a heave. And here's the thing: you're not even using all of your turn 2 mana, so you got 1 left.
So I went this morning, and while I was kind of waiting for them to fetch the cards from the back, I started looking at the Pokemon cards, and it basically inspired this idea of like, why is Pokemon so popular, right? And how that compares to Magic. And I think that's a fair introduction to say that's what we're going to get into this episode. So cue the intro.
Play that funky music.
There it is. That's it.
Yeah, that's it.
So, Jonas, let's transport ourselves back to 1990. We are 2 young children in a schoolyard in Japan in 1966. I mean, sorry.
66.
I mean 1996.
Ooh.
We're not even born yet.
we weren't born yet at 1996 either, to be
Yeah,
fair.
no, yeah. 1996 is before us. So if you're unk, as the kids say, listening, I'm don't like that I said that. I'm gonna edit that out. If you're older and you're listening to this,
No, keep it in. If you're chopped and unk, if you're spoiled rotten in the harsh sun.
if you've expired. 1996, Japan. Pokemon cards are launched and are turning schoolyards into real life trading grounds, right? By 1999, the hobby takes off and we are full blown gotta collect them all territory. Did you collect Pokemon cards as a kid? I don't think we've ever even talked about this.
You know what? I played the games a little bit as a kid, but I never really collected them. And by a little bit, I played the games like a lot of bit as a kid, of course, but never touched the cards. I think my first ever like actual card game, if we recount like in real life cards, is Magic.
Yeah. Yeah, I would probably say the same actually. But also, I mean, we'll get into this. There's a difference between playing and collecting, as we both know as TCG
That's
fans.
fair. That's fair.
You just brought up a core memory. I remember playing on my Game Boy Advanced SP, Pokemon
Mm.
Ruby Red, and as
Ooh,
this is, kids have no sense of like
gotcha.
danger or like timelines. I am versing the Elite Four with
Okay,
my Mudkip, sorry, with my Swampert and my
good, good.
Groudon.
He's a grown man now.
Yeah, I've got two Pokemon that can withstand the entire Elite Four, and I'm playing the entire Elite Four battle on a red battery. So at any moment, my
Ooh,
my Game Boy will die.
it could snap. You're freaking. Anytime Ruby is over, it wraps up fast.
Yeah, and it wasn't like it. I remember playing like sleeping over at like my aunt's or something, and just like every minute that passed by, being like save, 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 like trying to save after each battle and seeing how far I could push it. Today, I didn't even think to put it in this context. Pokemon is one of the biggest franchises in the entire world, stumping things like Star Wars, Marvel, and like Harry Potter is the other example it gave.
Wow. Good. You
Good.
know
Yeah,
what?
yeah.
Good for them.
Well, you don't think about it in that context because I guess like Pokemon at its core is an anime, and then the trading card like just is a part of that IP. If you're buying fucking Star Wars trading cards, like what are you doing? Like,
If I'm gonna be honest, I always think of the trading cards as so like tertiary to the whole experience. Because first we have in my heart the video games, and then you have like the anime, and then like low key the manga, and then here's where I put trading cards. But I never thought about it because I'm like, I, I, it seemed so foreign to me, for lack of a better term.
well, it's so big. Like it genuinely has its own economy, and that's sort of like what this episode is about. It like TCGs themselves have their own economy, but Pokemon itself has its own economy. And when you include everything, I mean, it's been around for what almost 30 years. Like you
Yeah, yeah.
you when you consider all that, it's like yeah, like Marvel. That's not. It's got nothing. Marvel Strike Force is out here trying to compete with Pokemon ZA. Like,
Yeah, I get that. I get that a lot. It's hard for me to because American zeitgeist is so like, especially after 2010s, we got so Marvel coded.
oh
It's
yeah,
so interesting for me to think about. Like Japan's been poke coded forever.
yeah, yeah.
They've been, yeah,
They have
they've
real
been
life
locked in.
Pokemarts, and they're awesome.
Oh, oh my god, I want to go to one so bad. They sound so sick.
So if you're listening,
Consume.
if you're thinking of sponsoring this episode, you don't even need to pay us. Just bring us to Japan. Uh,
Yeah, yeah. A way cheaper way to do. Okay, I'll give you two options. You can either like and follow, or you can send us to Japan. We'll take either
yeah,
or.
yeah, yeah.
We'll appreciate them just as much.
So in January 2025, Pokemon's, I don't know if this is the latest expansion, but basically the biggest one that just released in 2025 was the Prismatic Evolutions, which basically reignited this craze. You had people camping overnight outside tours from Tokyo to Toronto, and then digital queues online for Pokemon Center websites stretched into tens of thousands of people waiting for Pokemon Online.
So did this lead to a huge spike in the people actually playing, or were people like, I want this cool shiny cardboard? Okay.
Yeah, so I'm gonna get into this, but a competitive Pokemon deck, according to my
Sure.
friend who knows a little bit more about it, is like $50. Like
That's chill.
you could compete and compete well for $50. You and I both know if you're going to compete in a Magic setting and for real money, $50 doesn't get you shit. Like
Yeah, yeah.
you're paying $50 to
I'm
walk in the door.
it is there are certain cards. I my All of my decks are a little janky because all of my decks are like, man, I guess I could be running this, or I could run this 25-cent common that's much worse and it has to come down 2 turns later. So, but
But it does the same
I,
thing.
yeah, but the feeling, and I can't lie, I've seen some people when they play that card that is a little bit better than mine, it hurts. I'm like, man, fuck you.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, you got it out a turn sooner because it costs one less
Yeah.
mana. Fuck you.
Yeah, fuck you. I might have 20 more dollars than you right now, but that's
Well,
okay.
it's yeah, it's an interesting phenomenon, but we'll talk about this a little bit later. But it's the idea of collectability versus playability. But what makes Pokemon truly unrivaled and I'm borrowing a lot of from an article here. Um, Basically this idea of like limited edition culture. There are rare holographic cards, which for the average person means the card is finished a certain way and it's got like a special glint to it. There is designer sneaker drops that Puma and Pokemon did together. There is a Pokemon Center plush only available for one weekend in the entire world, and that's it. Basically, Pokemon has capitalized on creating a phenomenon that is just truly not accessible to everybody, but they do it
Mhm.
so often that it kind of is accessible, if that makes sense. You know what I mean?
I think I kind of understand what you're getting at. Like, right, you can only put out so many limited releases before they're not that limited anymore. If everything is limited, nothing is. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I guess what's how Pokemon gets away with it is like when a new game comes out, obviously new Pokemon come out, which means new cards come out, but they can always capitalize on the old classics. Like when I was waiting at the LGS today, the worker who was sort of putting cards behind the shelf talked me into buying a Gengar, and they were like,
Oh,
you should just collect Gengar." And I was like, "Cool, I guess I collect Gengar now, and I'll show it on camera." Now I have a binder that's just going to be specifically
what
for
are you talking about? What are you
I'm,
talking about?
I'm in the trenches with this is guerrilla journalism. Look at this
You
Gengar.
you don't
Look
even
at,
like Gengar that much.
I do like he's my
You don't
favorite
even like him that much.
He's my favorite. My first, he's
Yeah,
probably like one or two. My first is
you're
Cloyster.
so not even your favorite guy. A binder for your second favorite guy is crazy, Stosh. We really, come on.
I, I like him enough to buy the card, okay? so, so this idea of limited edition culture
You buying a
has.
binder for the side piece. You moving crazy right now. Somebody get
No,
this
I'm
man.
gonna have two binders. I'm gonna have two binders, one with Cloyster and one with Gengar, and I'll pick up a third for Mudkip. I don't care.
Wildin'. He's wildin'.
So Pokemon basically creates this limited edition culture, which essentially creates a new economy around it. So rare cards in Pokemon can now fetch six-figure sums. A single Pikachu illustrator card sold for $5.3 million to Logan Paul.
Logan Paul.
Yeah. Weird that we know, like, I don't know Pokemon well, though, but I know that. You know, it's like we
Yeah, I
know
got
that
some of that.
Post Malone bought the One Ring. So
Yeah. If you know Lord of the Rings, but you don't know Magic the Gathering, hearing that Post Malone bought the One Ring must be a crazy sentence.
That is very true. That is very, yeah. You hear it, you're like, what the fuck? Like,
Yeah,
um,
Post Malone, he defeated Sauron.
yeah, he won.
Yeah.
Uh, the global Pokemon TCG market is now estimated at, do you want to guess, over a certain number?
I don't know, man. It's got to be like high mills.
Mm-hmm.
For
Mm-hmm.
$400 million.
Okay, so it's $20 billion.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's the most valuable, one of the most valuable entertainment IPs in history, like I said before. Online marketplaces like eBay, TCG Player, and StockX report year-on-year spikes in card sales driven by nostalgia, influencer culture, and what they call investable fandom, which is kind of interesting. What are your thoughts on turning nostalgia into a commodity?
I think it is evil. I think it's evil and it's preying on people. I love nostalgia. I think nostalgia is very fun to do and I think, but I just think it's preying on people who are like, "Man, I would love the old days. I love the past. And I'd rather put all my money into recreating a feeling that I can no longer have instead of like joy. I
Yep.
want a facsimile of joy. I want a
Yep.
homunculus of joy."
If I can just buy joy, if I could just buy joy. It's like when Halo 3 came out or like Halo Remastered, and I was like, I'm going to feel like a kid again. And then I played it and I was like, this shit sucks. I was like, this is
Yeah.
bad. I miss
But,
being a kid.
but sometimes it hits. Sometimes you will do something that makes you feel like a kid again, and you're like, "Wow, that's actually super fun."
Yeah. Uh,
I
I agree. I agree.
I ran around in the woods recently. Oh my god, I was like, "Wow, I'm a boy. I'm a lad. I've always been a lad."
I'm just a little
And then
guy.
I should have got ringworm just to remember what it felt like.
That was a classic childhood thing for you.
We didn't all get ringworm as a kid all the time.
Okay, so anyway,
Okay, good to know.
the global TCG market for where it's estimated to go for not even just Pokemon but all of it together is supposed to grow an additional 14.7 billion, which is absolutely insane. For again, we're talking about pieces of cardboard.
How much of our podcast is us just being shocked by how much money is going into things?
I mean,
Because I
we
feel
haven't
like a
even
lot
gotten
of our
into the Iran war. Like that's what's
the next episode, by the way, is about the Iran War. So
Think of all the Pokemon cards. It goes Universal Healthcare and then Pokemon cards.
be so sad. I mean, this episode is rough, man. This is a rough
Yeah,
one.
I mean, whenever we talk about the economy, right? It's sad, but there is so now take that and subvert your expectations because we're talking about Pokemon. Um,
Hell yes. Get me back in there. Show me where Mimikyu gets involved.
well, there are. I then started to look into like why is this happening, like or what caused this to happen, because like I remember as a kid collecting Pokemon cards, but I don't really remember it being like you just collected them to collect them because that's what you did in the game. You got to catch them all, so you get all the pieces of cardboard. Where did things go wrong? Where did capitalism take hold, right?
Or where did things go right?
Right. Depending on how you look at it.
If
There's
you're a
definitely like a
stakeholder,
yeah, there's a scalper listening to this being like, I paid off my fucking house like this.
that does sound sick though. Like,
So you and I both prefer Magic to Pokemon. For the folks at home, if you're unfamiliar, like I mentioned, Pokemon is much more about the collecting. That is what drives a price. Magic has to do with the card's playability in
yeah.
multiple formats. There are cards that are banned in certain formats that are very valuable for others. There are cards that are only valuable because they're banned, things like that. There are cards that will never be printed again. So Magic has a little bit of that collectability to it, but Pokemon is where people don't give a shit about playing, they're just collecting. And the way the clerk described it to me basically is there's two people. There's people who see it as an investment and they want to invest in as much as they can so then down the line they can make money. Or there are people who are like, hey, I just love Mudkip, so I'm going to collect every version of Mudkip that's out there, or I'm going to master a set. That's basically what it boils down to. This changed a little bit, however, in October of 2009. Logan Paul, one of the Paul brothers who Scourge of the Earth Paul brothers, Logan Paul opened a sealed Pokemon First Edition base set booster box.
I'm a Maverick. We love the Paul brothers.
Jesus Christ. Goes to Zion National Park once, comes back and Paul brothers.
Let's go. Trump said Jake Paul would make a great politician, and I think I agree.
Okay.
I think he's handsome, tall, strong, and smart.
Hey, can I talk to you off this podcast? I think we gotta stop.
Can I talk to you off this podcast? I love bits as much as the next guy. We gotta cut it. We gotta shut this shit down.
We are ideologically opposed.
I'm gonna get one corner of the internet. We're shooting for different corners, and we got to make it happen.
Yeah,
I shaved my head for this.
That's what that was. Well, we've been trying too hard to get like the wholesome, like nerd person who's interested. Why are we not grifting, bro? Why are we not grifting?
I'm starting our grift early. I am.
Quick, say some heinous shit.
Hades 2 wasn't that good.
No. More. So in October 2009, so for the average listener, the first set of Pokemon to come out is the first edition. Those cards probably are some of the most valuable cards to ever have been created, because of their nostalgia and how old they are. And if they're in perfect condition, right, they go for even more, because also a big thing in the community is grading cards, sending them off to get a grade of 1 through 10, 10 being the highest, and like tripling or exponentially raising the price. Logan Paul opened a box live on stream October 2020, so it would have been like the pandemic. He bought that box, just that box, which contained, I think, like 36 packs for $200,000 with no guarantee that he was going to make the money back. Since then, the same type of box, a limited edition base set booster box that was unopened, has been sold for $408,000. So since that moment, it doubled in price. It doubled in price.
Another point for the Pauls. Let's go, low gang. Another point for us.
I hated that. That moment, that's the opening of the booster box on stream, StockX reported that they saw a 300% increase in Pokemon cards from that minute, like going forward till they did the report. Which begs another question. How do you feel that an influencer is basically influencing the economy, or specifically the economy of this thing?
Well, influencers have influenced the economy for such a long time now.
Yeah.
Like even to Mike, like back in the day, before we had a lot of this, we had a guy who would come on TV and yell at you. What was it? Was it called Mad Money or something of that nature?
Oh,
it was a show. Yeah, where he would just yell about money. And then we had people like is it the cat guy? Who's the guy who's telling people to buy GameStop, right? We have, if you're talking about influencers who are directly influencing the economy, we have that. And so an influencer who's influencing this micro economy on such a scale is not that shocking to me. But what is shocking is that there is the thing about Bitcoin and all that bullshit stuff is, right, they pretend there's utility there. There isn't, but they pretend there is. And in this one, there is an idea of a utility, which is the game, but they're completely ignoring it just to be like, yup, type shit. But maybe if you think of it as collecting an art piece, it's cool.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I put my Mona Lisa next to my base set Charizard.
Yeah. So, all right, but one of those has 150 attack, and one of those can barely crack a smile. So what's that? What's that got to do with me?
Damn, Leonardo.
Tell, tell, tell Mona Lisa to smile a bit more, and maybe she can get in the top 6. All right. Tell Mona Lisa to get some grass type coverage, and maybe she can link up with the crew. Pissed off.
Wow, Leonardo da Vinci is rolling over in his grave the way we're
Yeah.
talking about his artwork. So that was the first sort of instance that blew up this space. The second one was COVID. Kind of not shockingly, right? The pandemic created a perfect storm. People being locked inside with disposable income, and looking at the data for this hobby is mostly fueled by millennials, which isn't shocking.
Makes
People
sense,
who are
yeah.
just trying to buy a little bit of their childhood back because they've been screwed over their entire lives.
I was gonna say because they have disposable income. You took a shot at them for
I
some
mean,
reason.
they do
I was
finally have disposable income, but like not to buy a house, but to like buy Pokemon
Yeah.
cards, you know?
They're not buying a house, and they spent too much on that damn avocado toast. So now they
Yeah,
have to
yeah.
figure out somewhere for the money to go.
Yeah, maybe if you bought one less coffee, you'd be a millionaire
One
by
less
now.
If you bought one less coffee every single day and then put it all into Lockheed Martin, you would be a millionaire by now.
That plus Pokemon's nostalgia factor like has ramped up. But basically since then, that's sort of how this has been treated, is that we have an economy around cardboard that is driven by limited edition culture and people just sort of getting back into the hobby. I mean, I had it. I felt the twinge. When the clerk was talking to me at the LGS, I was like, what if I did flip this for an investment? What?
I got some Pokemon cards that I picked up in Japan while I was over there, I think, somewhere over here.
Well, the thing, it's funny you say that. Depending on where you're at, different types of languages of the cards actually do better.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, the last thing I wanted to sort of call out here is Magic tried to follow suit a little bit, which is kind of funny. Like, I want to talk about the differences between Magic and Pokemon. So there's this limited edition idea, right? Magic has been around, we talked about it before, since 1992. In 2022, they tried to come out with their 30th anniversary edition, which basically was them reprinting cards that were no longer able to be printed anymore off the reserve list.
Magic 30, right? Isn't that what that was
Magic
called?
30. Those boxes go for about $1,500 now. Yeah, and when they announced them, Wizards of the Coast announced that the 30th anniversary edition would be $1,000 a box of, and here's the thing, $1,000 a box, they only came with 4 packs in them. And they contained reprints of iconic high-value cards from this reserved list. And again, the reserved list is basically a list that's never going to be printed again.
Yeah, fair.
Think cards like Black Lotus, which I guess you could call like the Pikachu of Magic. Like it's kind of like the mascot of Magic, like the card itself, you know? Is that a bad take?
Loot is in the corner crying. There is literally a Pikachu in Magic, and he is so sad that Stas refuses to acknowledge his beautiful son.
Look, all I'm saying is I'd rather have a Black Lotus than
I would actually trade you 70 loots for a Black Lotus.
Yeah. The controversy around that sort of announcement though is so they sold it for $1,000 a box. There's 4 packs, not even guaranteed. I mean, I actually don't know if they were guaranteed, but probably not super guaranteed to get, like, because then they would just kind of lose money. Regardless, the cards were not tournament legal, featuring a different card back, right? So basically they were selling you a prop that you couldn't use in any other format besides maybe Commander. And many players just basically saw them as overpriced proxies, which kind of makes sense to me. You're paying $1,000 for a pack for a card that you could literally take out a piece of paper and draw because you're not allowed to play it in a tournament setting anyway.
If the only time, because I'm a big fan of proxying cards, which essentially means I print out a card, I cut it into the same shape as a regular card, and I put it in a deck, and there's essentially no functional difference. But the only thing is, you can't play those at like tournament events, right? You can play it with your homies, you can play it like chill events, but you can't like proxy and then play at like a tournament. And so if this is also a card I can't play at a tournament, what is the difference between this card and a card I printed off my inkjet for literally 7 cents?
Yeah, the Staples Secret Lair edition. You just
Oh
had
yeah.
them, just
Oh
printed it,
yeah.
which
That's
people are
sick.
comfortable with, and that's like
Yeah.
one thing that separate. I mean, that's another thing that separates Magic is like, if I can't compete in a tournament with it and I can just print it, I'm not going to spend $1,000 on this card. Pokemon is like, well, the whole point of the card is that it's real and that you own it, so that you can ultimately sell it off or whatever it might be.
Or maybe just cherish it, right? Like so it is now starting, the more we talk about it, it is starting to feel like antiquities or art itself, right? You are buying it from the authenticated owner who is then giving it to you, and there's an understanding that this thing is special because it just is special, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. So basically, all that is to say, right, there is I wanted to talk about the economy behind TCGs because I don't know, I flip back and forth because, like, okay, so Pokemon is basically based around like its scarcity and reprint policy. That causes Pokemon to be very aggressive and very unpredictable in its uh market. Frequent reprints of popular cards very much dilute the value of older versions.
Mhm.
There's no reserved list in Pokemon. It just is basically they get a new artist to make a new card or a new version of an old card.
Got it, got it,
Whereas
got it.
Magic's property or market is a lot more controlled and predictable because they have the reserve list. They're powerful vintage cards that won't be printed again, and they kind of create like a hard floor for that. Basically, the people who invest in Magic, right? Like they know that
This
this
is
card is worth something because it's never going to come out again.
This is so interesting considering that this latest Magic expansion, like a lot of the cards gimmick is that they're putting half of a banned card onto a card, which is like essentially a lot of the cards they just released are cards in which you have to jump through a hoop, and then on it says now you can play the banned card. So it
Right.
is very fun that like the idea of this conversation is surrounding these like reserved list and banned cards.
Yeah, yeah. Taking the reserve list and being like, we're not reprinting it, but we're basically giving it to you. And of course,
Take a
that's going to
look.
shoot the value up of the cards that
Yeah.
they're printing. The other thing about the difference, right, is the market behavior.
Mhm.
So what's kind of weird, like Pokemon is a lot of hype driven market. Prices can
Mm.
spike dramatically due to viral TikToks or like celebrity mentions, like I just mentioned with Logan Paul. But then those trends crash just as fast. So
Really?
yeah, it's kind of like I like to view it as like if you're a Magic player, you're investing in like index funds and you're just collecting a little something every year. Pokemon, you're fucking day trading. You're in the trenches like, yeah, okay, if I sell this right now, I'll make money. And then you you lose out and you're like, fuck, that card went up $1,000. Like
Damn, that would suck. I'm thinking about my childhood, and like I've definitely washed a Pokemon card in my jeans, and now I'm like that probably was $10,000. That's like
mhm.
that's 10 grand I just threw away for no
I
reason.
I have Pokemon cards that my cousin gave me that he no longer wanted. I went through them and I found
Mhm.
a first edition Charizard and I freaked out because I was like, I think I sent this to you. I was like, holy shit. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. You said I was gonna be like Kaiba from from Kaiba
Yeah.
Corp.
Yeah. I said he was gonna get so rich, the way he was gonna pull up to events was gonna be completely different.
but but I found out that it was missing like it wasn't a first edition base set. It was missing the
Mm.
stamp, so it was like drastically less, which
Yeah, yeah.
obviously was heartbreaking. But
Stosh thought he had found, I'm sorry, for everyone listening, Stosh thought he had found $200,000. That's a
yeah,
very
just
different vibe. Like going from that to like $300, $300, incredible. But you're still like, wow. Stosh was gonna get a new haircut. His hair was gonna be parted in the middle because that's the way you do it when you're evil. and
Yeah.
then you he was gonna all turtlenecks from now on. It was gonna be a
Yeah.
completely
I'm gonna
different
start
dude.
speaking in an accent. It was gonna be a lot.
Yeah, and I'm gonna be honest, guys. I heard the accent. It was not tasteful.
It
It
was
was
not tasteful. I cannot do that in public.
his
Unless
ass.
I'm rich.
We were
Unless I'm
hoping he
rich.
was rich.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. The economy
The
behind
Jedi. Sorry, go ahead.
the economy behind these two is interesting. I just wanted to talk about it on the podcast. I'm curious if we had someone who listened who just could leave a comment like, yeah, I've been collecting since the 90s, either one, and I've watched my like investment profile shoot up, how they feel
Or
about these unpredictable
I,
markets.
I would also love to hear people who do collect, because I do have some pals who collect, to be like, what drives you to collect? To be like, oh, I just have I have a kinship for these characters, or I don't know, man, I just like the art is so interesting, or I find that world so engaging, or whatever, or just be like, I don't know, man, I think it's cool. I would love to hear whatever is driving those people to do it. Why are you doing this?
Yeah, yeah, same here. And
So let
why
us
I
know.
shouldn't get into it.
Yeah, yeah, stop him, please. Stop
Yeah,
him
I've
quickly.
got the binder. Damn it, I've got the
You have
binder.
s you have so much cardboard in your house already. It's
I
like
know. I'm
it's
literally looking
cartoonish.
at like just this much bulk from this weekend. Like I don't need all
Uh-oh.
this.
There's a new set releasing in 1 week, buddy.
I
You're gonna have
know.
so much bulk coming.
I know, and I'm supposed to get a box, which is
Oh my god,
terrifying.
we off the podcast, obviously off the podcast. Oh my god, we should split a box one of these days. That'd be so much fun.
For like
Oh
the
my
net,
god.
I was thinking for like Reality Fracture, which comes out in the summer.
Reality Fracture looks so sick.
We
I
should like
I know we
a
know
collector
nothing
box
about
or
it.
something. Like
Yeah, 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 yeah.
we'll
Anyway,
invest. We're
let's
investing.
we're investors. We're investors. We're making money.
Yeah. Yeah, so I don't know. I prefer to be on the lower risk long term behavior for Magic because I do have some cards that like I don't think will drop in price, but they're certainly not going to skyrocket.
Yeah. I mean, honestly for me, I kind of look at it as like toys. I like it's my big boy adult toys, I guess, which is that's not I didn't like the way that sounded. Uh, but yeah, no, there it's just like a thing I play with my buddies. I just literally was hanging out with a buddy today and he mentioned Magic and I was like, "You're into Magic?" And he was like, "Yep." And I was like, Stop what you're doing. In 2 weeks, you're coming over to my place and we're playing some Magic."
Hell
And so
yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, just like an act. It's like a modem for an activity for me. That's my perspective.
Yeah, I mean it comes back to what I said like the playability is what
Yeah.
drives these prices, but really it's also the fact that people just want to keep playing Magic and if they
Yeah.
want to play at a higher level then yeah, like money shouldn't be a barrier and it doesn't have to be, but
Yeah, and you also don't like losing. Like when you lose to someone, every Magic player has experienced this. Is when someone plays. Imagine you were playing basketball, right? And someone just hits you with an in and out Euro step, and you've never seen one before. And he's like, for $13, you can do that Euro step. And I'm like, what?
that's so true actually.
Yeah, it's like I didn't even know that was a move, and he was like, "Yep." They actually dropped this move in 2007, and a lot of people don't know about this one. But for $13, you can use it. Yeah, Brian Kibler used this Euro step to win the Pro Tour in 2007. So if you want to go ahead and pick that
You're like,
up,
I've got my dollar fade away. How do I trade up?
yeah. Oh my God, I've been using the layup package like a fucking idiot. Yeah, that's
uh,
exactly how I view Magic cards.
so yeah, let us know your thoughts on the TCG market. This was a little insight to that. Kind of a shorter episode today, unless we have anything
Yeah.
lined up.
Nothing lined up, just a little silly, goofy episode. I hear I hear next episode things are gonna get a little spooky and scary.
Oh,
So I'm worried about that. I hear that someone might be taking over for me next episode, but I'll let you guys know about that. Next time.
okay. All right. Thanks for tapping in. We're tapping out.
Thanks for tapping in. Tap out.